How's it going, my fellow geeklings? You are, well, I would say watching, but we've gone back to the podcast format with this. As I've said before, I wanted to make Tea Stories a podcast because I feel like it's more relaxed and you can listen to it wherever you are. Doesn't matter if you're out and about or you're in your house. Well, most probably you are going to be in your house, aren't you? Especially in this day and age.
Well, yeah, for lockdown and that, but if you're doing that essential exercise, then plug in your earphones and then listen to us rant.
I am joined, as always, by the wonderful Mark James, who is the Rick Mail to my Adrian Edmondson. How are you doing, Mark?
Yeah, I'm good. I'm glad you said Rick Mail, because I've definitely got the hair for it.
Put a pair of glasses on me, and I'm definitely aid.
Oh, you need someone to come to your aid, that's what it is.
Yeah, and hence why I've called on you for this episode of Tea Stories. Funnily enough, the mug of the day here is quite reminiscent of what we're going to be talking about today. It's actually a Disneyland Paris, I would say soup mug, because it's actually quite a large mug. It's actually the size of my head.
With Disney, they go overkill with everything, so it's like, everything's like the size of your head. So it's like it'd take you a week just to finish a hot chocolate.
And then like you'd be pissing for a month.
But yeah, you still be there. Everyone else is wondering where you're gone. All I can hear is like a torrential waterfall in the bathroom. Like
the topic of today's Tea Stories is going to be focusing on mine and Mark's trip to Disneyland Paris.
I'd call that one the luckiest trip ever because it was just before the lockdown.
Wasn't it like the next day after we got home they announced that someone had the symptoms?
Yeah, pretty much. So I felt a bit responsible then. I was pretty sure I didn't sneeze on anyone or anything like that.
It all started just randomly last year. Like I said, it's like, Mark, I've managed to get a cheap holiday for Disneyland Paris. It's like, so I'm going to ask two of my mates from my job, do you want to come with?
A cheap trip to Disneyland Paris? Yes, I will.
Have you ever been to the Paris park?
That was my first time. Back in 1998, I went to the Florida one.
That is one I've yet to experience, but hey, well, at least you've experienced both worlds now.
I might as well just get round the entire thing now. I say LA next.
As soon as we landed, got in a Uber taxi, and then we ended up at our hotel. And I found it quite funny because we did not expect it to be that expensive.
Yeah, definitely.
Becca, like, she said it was like 85 euros, and then we thought, oh, okay, that sounds roughly about right. Then it was actually 185 euros.
Well, that's my spending money on the shitter.
Well, I mean, there were four of us, so it wasn't so bad.
Yeah, it was like paying from Swansea to Cross Hands, really, and you end up haggling with the taxi driver.
We've experienced that.
That's on another video.
To be fair, it was the first holiday where I felt like I'm the one who's in charge of the bookings and the organisation, like, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that's it was an interesting one, like, but you handled it pretty well and you didn't get anxious, so that was good.
I was in the queue at first, and because, like, obviously when you're in the queue for Disneyland hotels, you have to fill out like all the details of each guest that's staying in a room. So like I have to fill out all four of our details, how old we are, where we're from. Half of this information I don't even know.
I don't even know what I had for breakfast. Leave me alone.
I literally ended up just saying to one of the people in the queue, you know, with this, do I have to put every single individual detail here? And they just said, it's like, I've just put my own address on every single form. So to be fair, I really like the hotel.
Yeah, I love the little cowboy theme. Like, I kept, like, acting out in my head, like Clint Eastwood and Lee Van Cleef going, this town ain't big enough for the two of us.
Oh, now I think about it, we missed an opportunity for a vlog there.
Yeah, we did, but I think a lot of it was just more for the personal experience. I think if we end up going back, we should definitely do a vlog and do a good funny one.
Oh, definitely. Like, our experiences at Comic-Cons have always been funny, especially with the vlogging.
Yeah, it makes the experience more interesting, and it's good for an outsider who doesn't normally go to Comic-Con, seeing how people experience it. And
the only thing that did not irritate me, but it was just kind of got a bit tedious, was like literally every time we went to get our tickets every day, they kept sending us to different windows in like the entrances.
I just thought that was a running joke.
Do you remember I was telling you about that level in The Witcher?
Oh, yes.
Have you got this form? Well, no, but that's why I'm coming to you. It's like, oh, you got to go to this window to get that form. I'm like, oh, okay, then go to that one. Have you got this form? No one told me about this form. That's literally what it felt like when trying to get our tickets for the park.
It's like an Abbott and Costello routine. The only thing they didn't ask us was how to get 7 into 28 and who's on first.
Yes. Although it wouldn't surprise me if they did, to be honest.
I think one of the favourite parts of that trip was probably the meets and greets, because it literally let, especially us two when we went together, like it just let loose and we just went into the fiction of it.
It felt like interactive theatre to me.
That's one thing I liked about it. It's like when we were picking on Tigger and we accused him of wrecking Rabbit's garden. I said, "Oh, don't worry, we'll just blame it on Roo. You'll be in the clear, right?"
Or when we met Tweedledum and Tweedledee, and then we were arguing which one was the more better dressed and more attractive.
Yeah, I was just like, I'm going to get punched by one of these.
There was two of us, so like we were on a 50-50.
It's quite good. I like how they played along with it and made it more fun. They're like, no, me, I'm the pretty one.
With a job like that, you have to be full into it, otherwise there's no point.
The thing is, once you're in it, you can't help but just have fun with it. It's like the guy dressed as Donald Duck. Like, how much fun did he have? I just loved it when he was trying to get the water off the parasol to soak people.
Didn't it soak Bethany at one point?
Yeah, I think it did, yeah.
It could only happen to her, couldn't it?
It was kind of cool, really, that he'd done something a bit more out there, because usually with Donald Duck, you see him losing his temper or something like that. No, like, he's the tantrum character of the Disney world, isn't he?
Out of all of them, what would you say was your favourite meet and greet?
It's hard to say, really. I'd probably say it was either Tigger or Donald Duck.
I liked the Darth Vader one. That was cool.
Yeah, I played along with that a bit too well.
Didn't you say something about the salary?
I asked him, is the pay good? And then he said to me, pointless inquiry.
Out of the four of us, only one person knew it was actually a meet and greet, because me, you, and Becca, we thought it was the Star Tours ride.
Yeah, I loved the little trick on that, but I was like, all of a sudden I'm face to face with flipping Darth Vader.
And I know Darth Vader is a tall character, but I did not expect the person coming around the corner to be that tall. Literally, because like as you go in, you're in this small room and you can't see inside the room. So literally as the person comes out, that's the first time you see him. And I was in front, and then how tall was he? About 6'2", something like that?
He's at least 6 foot, yeah.
As soon as he comes around, I'm like, my head just looks up. I'm like, hello?
I just looked, please don't force choke me.
If he's doing a force choke, at least he's keeping to the social distancing rules.
I think you'd find my lack of faith disturbing anyway.
I think for me, personally, I really loved the White Rabbit encounter. Even though it was brief, it was just very cheerful and very me.
Yeah, it seemed pretty charming, didn't it? And I really loved the costume.
What, his or mine?
Both.
To be fair, like when you see skin suits, you don't. Sometimes it's either one way or the other. Sometimes they look really bad, or sometimes they look really good. But every skin suit I saw at Disney was really nice. That's referring to like the full-on costumes of like characters. When I say skin suits, some people might think it's like, wait, they were wearing people's skin.
Yeah, you can just see some poor sod like from Hostel, like literally it's just hanging on the line. Like, what are you doing? I'm waiting for it to dry.
One thing I was disappointed about, I didn't get to do the Alice or Mad Hatter meet and greet. That one did disappoint me.
I think that would have been your highlight if it did happen, I'd say.
I felt bad for the they got a name from like they call them like the characters' friends, but they're the people in the red coats who basically make sure everything's going accordingly.
Yeah, it's like a buddy system, isn't it?
Yes, that's the one. Well, let's just say it's like the character's carer, for example.
Except without the bum wiping.
Yeah, that's an image I don't want to picture, but then if you want to picture it, you picture it. But then...
Come here, Mad Hatter, you need to get it done.
I tried 4 different times to get into that meet and greet, and the last time, I think it was on the last day, I went up there, and because it was raining, they had to cancel it, which is understandable because, like, obviously, if you're like what's called a face character where like you're not in a full-on bodysuit or anything like that, your costume can get damaged. They had to call it off because of the rain, and he generally looked disappointed for me. He looked more disappointed for me than I was for myself.
Yeah, they do that sometimes. It's like when you ask a shop assistant if they got a certain item in. Oh, we've all sold out, sorry.
Yeah, it's like, please don't hurt me. Mate, don't worry, I know you can't help the weather.
A lot of people are not that understanding, see, so you can imagine the daft complaints they usually have to deal with. Oh my god, I come all the way here and I can't even see the Mad Hatter. I'm like, shut up.
There's plenty more to do around the parks than just meet this one character, so I'm more than happy to just go ahead and do something else.
Yeah, when I went and doing my own thing, I was just watching people on the carousel. I was like, fucking hell, it looks so magical.
Yeah, exactly. Even though I didn't get to experience that, I felt like it didn't detract from the holiday at all, or the experience. It's just like, it's one of those missed opportunities, but it's not the end of the world.
I did love how it took us about 3 days to actually have churros in the stalls.
I'm laughing because I thought I was safe from like chocolate actually spilling anywhere. I thought I was safe. And then Becca just points out, it's like, actually, you got some on your jacket. I'm like, damn it.
I should have said, it's okay, I'll lick it off, it's fine. The thing is, it's sod's law. If you wear something bright, like white or something like that, it's gonna get a stain on it.
That's why I'm trying to stick with dark colours from now on.
I'm wearing a black t-shirt now. I'm like, one, it makes me look slim, and two, like, you know, if it's a bit of a stain, I can just rub it, and then no one will know unless they really, really observe me.
One thing I was happy about that managed to help us get into the Tweedledum and Tweedledee meet and greet just because of what I was wearing. Basically, I decided to do what's called Disney bounding, which is basically where you have an outfit that's based on a certain character or a certain franchise. So I decided just to do like a White Rabbit inspired outfit. So basically it was that white denim jacket, which I did unfortunately get chocolate on, and like a red burgundy shirt, and then like this top hat which was customized by a friend of mine a couple of years ago. And literally this woman who was in the line for the Tweedles, she said it's like, unfortunately, and she stopped mid-sentence. She was going to say, sorry, we've had to close it because of the capacity, and then literally she stopped halfway, looked up and down at me, and she just said, get in the line, get in the line. I
felt like royalty at that point. I was like, yes, peasant, you go away. I bet a lot of people end up full-blown cosplaying and then them getting kicked out and all that jazz.
That's the thing, that's an actual rule. It's like, if you go in, like, obviously, like, you see loads of children dressed up in full-on costume, and that's acceptable, but, like, if you're an adult and you try to go in, like, full cosplay, you can actually be removed from the park.
It's fraud, you get out of here now.
This is one story I will say for the podcast, and this was the first ride we went on was Star Wars Hyperspace Mountain. How tired were we getting there?
I was literally a walking zombie.
We had to leave Swansea to get to Bristol at 3 o'clock in the morning, so I think we'd only had like about maybe 4 hours sleep, if that. I remember just going in my bag, and I carried snacks like just every day just to keep us going, and I remember just giving you a cereal bar. But to me, as soon as you had it, it was like Popeye when he has the spinach.
Yeah.
I have never seen anybody just shoot up so much after taking a bite of a cereal bar.
Hey, there's a lot of sugar in them things. Don't underestimate them. They perked up on that one, and then the ride woke me up then.
Sugar and adrenaline.
I think we went on it about at least 6 times, didn't we? And it didn't get old at all. I liked the fact that we were sitting at different parts and we managed to see different visuals.
Of course, on top of like the screaming and fanboying.
I did scream like a little girl at one point. But the best one was Tower of Terror. And each time I managed to clock, on the last day, when I managed to clock where the camera was, and I managed to do a wink and a little thumbs up.
I think that's the whole reason we kept going back on it, just because we wanted to get a decent photo.
Yeah, I'm just like, I don't like my face in that one. Let's go on, let's get another one.
You said you went to the American park. Did the Tower of Terror or any of the other rides like differ compared to Paris?
With Tower of Terror, like in MGM Studios, like it was quite similar to the one we had. Like, it just, the narrative was slightly changed. Like, a lot of the interactive stuff, you'd already be seated. But I kind of enjoyed walking around the area in the Paris one, because you kind of absorb the atmosphere.
Yeah, I get what you mean. You just take in more, like especially like with the layouts and the architecture and stuff.
Yeah, because I went on it 2 times in a row. The thing, my parents actually tricked me in the MGM park. They told me it was a haunted house and said it was going to be really scary. I didn't know it was going to be an elevator ride that's going to drop me and make me think. Because I was that.
Well, technically, they didn't lie.
Yeah, but the thing is, they didn't have the seat belts that we had. They just had a bar over you.
Really?
This is 1998 now.
To be fair, I think a bar would have been better, because at least then you can actually stay in your seat. Because I remember the first time we went on it, as you drop, I think I came out of my seat briefly.
I came out of my seat with the bar then. I had my dad picking me up and said, no, you got to stay there. I was like, I'm not doing it on choice.
I'm glad we went on it the amount of times we did, because that made up for my previous experience, because I didn't actually get to go on the ride.
Yeah, it's like you got paid back tenfold, didn't you?
Yeah, because what happened was, when I went the first time, I went with my brother, his partner at the time, and her son. And her son was only either 6 or 7 at the time. But then as soon as we were strapped into the ride and the bellboy was given like the whole health and safety procedure, the boy started crying. And because I was closest to the aisle, I said, it's like, okay, I'll take him off because he's not feeling too great. And to be fair, they did offer me another fast pass to just skip the whole line and everything else just to get on the ride because I didn't get to do it. But we just didn't have time, unfortunately.
Yeah, it is sad when that happens, but you know, you did do the right thing.
I think I made up way more for it than I needed to. The last time we went on Tower of Terror, you see the old traditional hotel bellboys or bell ladies and all that, and they give you the health and safety procedures. So it's like, don't stand up, make sure the seatbelt is fastened, and basically it's in a dry monotone way just to basically add that era of horror. There was two girls at the back and they literally just shouted as he was speaking, said, "Say it in English."
But he came back at him with some right sass, didn't he?
He just didn't break character at all. Like he just said, it's like, this is Disneyland Paris, not Disneyland England.
Yes, well, in good time, yes.
Yeah. And I'm pretty sure I just turned around to him and said, he's getting to it.
I said, don't worry, we're all ashamed that they're British as well.
The funny thing is, I think that's the same guy who saw us every time we went on it.
Yeah, I think he got sick to death of us in the end. He's like, oh, fuck these two again.
I think that and Space Mountain were probably two of the highlights in terms of rides for me.
Yeah, they're the main ones I really enjoyed. And say I didn't mind some of the others, but like I said, they didn't rush my adrenaline like those did.
Yeah, everything had its own like unique quality to it.
Funny thing is, I love that Ratatouille interactive ride as well.
Yeah, it's something different. It's like, it's not like loops and twists and all that, but it's just like the 3D experience of it and like just being swerved around and everything. And again, you feel like you're part of the film.
I'm just gutted that we passed the lightsaber building area and I didn't even go out of my way to sort myself one out.
You were tempted.
I said, that's the next thing I'd be doing. And they ended up confiscating at the airport. I said, so you carrying weapons?
It wouldn't surprise me if people have actually done that at any point.
I'm not a criminal, I'm just one with the Force.
Every time we went on a ride, I think everyone must have thought we just got more and more absurd each time. Because do you remember when we were on the Indiana Jones ride and we were just going up slowly and we were just quoting from bottom from the Ferris wheel scene?
Yeah, it was like it was feeding our madness. It was great.
It's like, now this is definitely the last ride of the night, Eddie. I'm way over my £3 limit. How much was this ride, by the way? £3 quid. See, it worked out well. And then you get to the top, and even though we're like speeding and swerving around, we're still trying to quote.
I think we got through the entire episode, didn't we, at one point? I think the only thing we missed out was that we don't want to get into the shit in this one. We don't actually believe in God, do we? Oh, shit.
Oh, we should have done that on Tower of Terror. That would have been brilliant.
Yeah, if we timed it beautifully.
Yeah, as the doors open, it's like, we don't actually believe in God, do we? No. Shit. Ah! So that would have been for a great picture. The Wild West show. That was fun.
Yeah, I liked how you were having a meal and it was still interactive. I was wondering how the bloody hell am I going to fit all this in?
It was, for those of you who haven't been to like Disneyland Paris, I don't know if they do it in America at all, but basically the Buffalo Bills show is like tailored to like one of those old Wild West rodeos. So literally, as you go in, you're in like a saloon bar, and then like you've got the stage, and then this host comes on. They basically just have it's basically, you know, like those old variety acts and stuff like that. And then you basically get allocated a team. So literally, it's like whichever side you're on, you got to cheer for like that color team.
Yeah, I found that fun because that guy that was on our side, he kind of cracked me up because I think he threw himself off the fence at one point, didn't he?
He stood like up against the banister, leaned back, and then basically just backflipped over it. And I turned to Becca, it's like, did he just do that? And then she was like, yeah. So
at the same time, I said that to Bethany. I said, he did just flip off that very high thing. I mean, yes, he did.
I mean, the value for that you're getting for your money is like, I swear to God, I couldn't even remember how much was on that plate, but it was a lot.
The plates just kept coming. I was like, where am I going to put it? I said, I'm going to need Goku's appetite.
Like some beef chili to you first in a bowl, and I thought that was it because like it was quite a bit of a gap before you get like your other section, and then literally they just come over to you and they just start putting meat on your plates, and I'm just like, okay, this is yes.
I had a full rack of ribs the night before, didn't I? The first meal, I was like, And I'm going, I got ribs again.
Oh, the last night as well, we went into this I can't remember the name of any of the places, but literally it was like this really fancy restaurant, but it was like an all-you-can-eat buffet. So literally it's like you go in and you pay like an upfront fee and you just help yourself. I was just like, this was good.
Yeah, it was a great way to end it. And I just kept thinking of Impractical Jokers in that one, because there's one episode where they had to be in an all-you-can-eat buffet and they had to steal food from other people's plates. And whoever had the most amount of food on the plate wins. And of course, in that one, people started getting pretty aggressive and like literally swearing at them.
Yeah, it's just like, otherwise people are going to flip off at you.
I think one time one of them said, mate, you're going to have to get out of there. You're going to have to get out of there.
If you could go again, what would you say you'd do differently next time?
I'd say I'd go through the stalls and try different foods and stuff, because one thing I did enjoy was when we found that crepe place.
Oh, yes.
And literally just a crepe filled with Nutella. I thought, oh, that's me sorted.
That's true.
I wanted to check their hot dog standards and all that, so...
Yeah, that's true. It was the place opposite that bakery / cafe that we went to. And gotta tell you, those Anna and Elsa biscuits were lush.
Oh, I did love them. Yeah, they do a lot better coffee out there than us as well. I was like, even the cappuccino stuff.
If I could choose any time to go to one of the Disney parks, it would probably be during Halloween.
Oh, that would be good. I'm hoping they'd probably end up with like Nightmare Before Christmas themes or something like that.
Well, they do have like meet and greets with like specific Nightmare Before Christmas characters. Like, one of my friends has done one with Jack Skellington. Sally's been like a meet and greet character before. So, but like literally, it's like that. If you go online, there's a video with like, I think it's Jack Skellington and the Grinch, basically like in Universal Studios. You've got like someone dressed up as the Grinch and he's having a rant about Jack Skellington, and then someone's gone to Disney and then asked them about the Grinch, and then Jack Skellington's had a rant about him.
That's a good one, actually. I'd have to go different parts a year, really, because I bet like say now Christmas and stuff like that, it's going to be really different as well.
Well, one thing I was gutted about, literally, is like on the weekend that we were coming back, they were having a St. David's Day festival.
Yeah. That's one thing I liked doing as well, trying to point out the Welsh people, and it's a small world after all.
And if you are Welsh and you are on the look out for the moon.
Go to the moon and back. That's where Caerphilly cheese is. See, that's where they stuck us on the fucking moon.
And if you look closer, I'm sure Wallace and Gromit are there.
They're wearing the wrong trousers if you can't spot them.
What was your thoughts on the illuminations? The fireworks?
I absolutely loved them. Like, because we saw them from two different angles, it was like, it didn't matter that, like, because the first time we watched it, it was far back, wasn't it? But I still loved like the kind of fireworks and stuff like that. I could make out the animations. But it was still great to look at from afar. But when we ended up getting really up close, and I managed to dodge someone with a flipping selfie stick, even though it's not allowed and they'd using it anyway.
Again, people get told things and they don't follow the procedure, but enough about that.
And then watching the animation up close and stuff.
Especially like at the bottom part of the castle, like you couldn't really make that out when you're a bit far back because like of everyone that's in front. But literally, as you see like the characters going across like the bottom bit of the castle, that was really cool.
Yeah, that's one thing I loved about it. I thought, it was definitely worth going to see that for like a second time as well.
How much money does it cost us to do that fireworks display, I wonder? Never mind keeping the park open, just that. Like,
they're having so much of a turnover, millions of people come around. Like I said, they pass the break-even point all the time, so...
I knew all of you before going anyway, but you'd never met Becca and Bethany. How was that for you? Like, especially like going with people you'd not known previously. Was that daunting in a way, or didn't that faze you?
It didn't faze me really, because like I said, we've got experience in touring theatre with different people all the time, so yeah, I just kind of rolled with it, and we did kind of meet before we went anyway, so I kind of had an idea like who I was dealing with and who I was getting into. It was fun getting to know them, like because they're very different to like the people we normally hang around with. Like I said, like Bethany's a lot more reserved, and was it Becca's just Becca? No, it was just nice to, at the end of the trip where we all warmed to each other, and It just seemed like we were a good knitted little team.
Yeah, exactly. It was weird because like we'd always had our routine. It's like we'd go to have breakfast together. We'd always have a day in the park, watch the fireworks, and then at the end we'd always end up back in the hotel room watching Jessie on Disney Channel because that was the only thing that was on.
Yeah, I didn't mind that because one of the nights we were at the bar and we had a couple of ciders before going to bed. So we had a bit of our guy time as well, and they had some of their girl time. So
Exactly.
we know how to balance it out.
Well, I tell you what, and then we actually end up going to the airport to go back. Luckily, we had a cheaper option. We just went on the what they call it, the Magic Shuttle, which is basically like the bus that just takes you around all the hotels and then to the airport. And I tell you what, Paris's airport. How long was that thing?
I don't know. I was like trying to climb Mount fucking Everest, but in the warm and dry.
So that episode of Ed, Edd and Eddie where they go on like the rocket ship, it's just like Ed just running by like paper joins and everything. That's what I felt like.
I felt like we were stuck in like a time loop and it was just carrying on.
Do you remember the whole kerfuffle with all of the checking in the cases?
Yeah, that was the biggest miscommunication on the planet. I don't know what she was thinking.
Whenever you're in an airport, you have to put your is it your hold luggage? Is that what it's called? Where you put it on the belt?
Yeah.
So you got your hold luggage and your hand luggage. So the hold luggage always goes on like a conveyor belt and then goes into the bottom of the plane. You never see it till you're in the other airport. And as we were sorting that out and checking in, one of the airport staff members comes up and says, like, you can't take that on the plane. It's like, what are you talking about? We can't take it on the plane. We paid for it. It's like, no, you've paid for this, but you haven't paid for this. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? So I showed her the documents. It says one hold luggage, one set of hand luggage with like certain weight restrictions, which we were in. But literally, this is where it turned into an Abbott and Costello routine because it was just back and forth. It's like, how heavy is your luggage? This isn't our luggage. Yeah, but how heavy is it? Oh, what are we on about?
Yeah, because the mistake in the end was she thought our hold luggage was her hand luggage.
She didn't realise we were actually checking in our luggage separately. She thought it was like all as one. So like literally she thought we were taking all of our hold luggage as hand luggage. And there was a point, like literally it's like it just went back and forth.
Yeah, and then we're trying to switch things around in bags, which we didn't even need to in the first place.
And then she said, it's like, oh, I see, this is your hand luggage. I was like, oh. There might have been a language barrier or something like that, and obviously she may have been working like long into the night and all that, so maybe she was exhausted and all that, so that's fine. But it's just funny looking back on.
Yeah, I'm laughing at it now, but it's just frustrating at the time. Like,
yeah, at the time we just wanted to get home. And it was just like, well, we paid for this.
You're coming between me and a comfortable bed. No, fuck off.
And then there was me nearly leaving my passport on one of the waiting tables. That was funny.
Oh, my dog's off on one. Maybe it's a bag going across the window again.
Maybe. Well, he's maybe you heard me saying about leaving the passport on the table.
You can't forget that.
Oh god. And then we finally get back into sunny Bristol, which was baffling because we were expecting to come back to rain.
Yeah, I kind of enjoyed that. And that whole pilgrimage of trying to find my flipping car was fun as well, so...
Oh yeah, that was a fun game. Literally, I think we got off at a stop too early, so it's like literally we just had to walk for like 20 minutes. Overall, I think it was a really good holiday and a really good experience, to be fair.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad we had that before the whole pandemic just took over.
I just couldn't believe it because, like, if we had booked it any later, like a day later, God knows how different that could have been.
Because we came home on the Friday, I had a shift in Spoons on Saturday, then on the Sunday, I think it was on the Monday, it was like, no, can't go out, can't do anything, stay at home.
All I'm going to say is, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to this elongated episode of Tea Stories. I've been Scott Anthony Christie, the Auburn Phoenix. I have been joined by my best mate, Mark James. Mark, thank you so much for doing this. It's been a pleasure.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure my end as well. We definitely got to do more in the future.
Yeah, definitely. Anything you want to plug before we finish here? Or?
Oh, nothing really. I'd just say, keep tuning, because we will be tackling other subjects, serious, fun. I think we'll probably go more positive, because I think there's enough negativity in the world at the moment.
Like, that's why I think this was a good one to start on with, because like it's there's some fun to it. That it's a light-hearted subject. I mean, it's Disney, for God's sake. So
yeah, I think we should come up with another fun, absurd subject, like, just to take people away from the land of plague.
Yeah, that's a good idea on my end. Well, I think that's a good way to finish it.
Yeah, don't queue for KFC. Stay at home. Keep everyone safe. Save our NHS. Save lives.
Stay safe, guys. Hope no one's affected in a negative way by COVID-19. Stay home. Enjoy a nice cup of tea or a coffee. And I'll see you next time.